Yo, get your team right, get your association right, and start winning championships. Start winning in life. I'm talking about all areas of life. I'm talking about your faith. I'm talking about your finances. I'm talking about your health. I'm talking about your fitness. I'm talking about all areas of life. But it's not just about you. It's about your team. It's around those people. It's around the association that you have in life. Get the right team and get the right association so you can start winning championships in anything that you put your hand to. Wherever you're at, wherever you want to be, wherever you want to go, whoever you want to become, you can win all along the way and help a bunch of other people do the same. It was about a couple years ago, a friend of mine showed me this promotional video for all men's leadership. And when he showed me this video, they were doing all sorts of awesome and amazing things. Like when I saw the video, they were doing some tug of war. They were flipping tires, not just any old tire, but it took like 6, 7, 8, a dozen people to flip this tire. You couldn't do it on your own. There were people doing bench press and pull-ups and pulling sleds and swimming in water, like all sorts of these physical activities. And I could just see myself as I'm watching this video like, yo, I don't even know what this is, but I need to be there. So my friend, he showed me this. He said, hey, I think that we should go. Like we need to be around people who are thinking at higher levels than us. We need to be around people who can expand our thinking, who can expand our giving, who can expand the way that we view our faith, our family, our finances, our fitness, and just kind of break out of the mold from that. And I said, cool, I'm in. Tell me when, tell me where, how much, plane ticket, all those little details that don't really matter at the end of the day. I'll be there. So I committed to going to this. And when we got there, it was awesome. There was hundreds upon hundreds of dudes who set up tents. There was some cabins there. And we had all these different physical activities, some of which I just mentioned. But we had little pockets of teams that had, obviously different color teams. Crimson Tide was my team, and we faced off against all these other dudes for 3 days straight. Now we would battle against each other. We had a team captain, and then we had a co-captain, and then we had everybody within the team. And each team had anywhere from young boys to teenagers to young adults to middle-aged men to what I like to call some sages, maybe people who view them as your grandparents. Now they may have been old in age, but these people were young at heart. They still had fire within them. They had energy. They had sometimes even more energy than the youth. And it was fantastic. So we had this leader, and we had so many different events. Each event, we would go up against different teams. So it was different strategy each and every single time. But we had to come together collectively because we couldn't just put the most athletic person out there every single time. There was just different rules that we had to get into. So there had to be, maybe that sage or maybe that middle-aged man, and it had to be a young boy or a teenager. So it was always constantly changing and intermixing, and everybody had to participate. Nobody could sit out. Everybody had to get in on the action. As comfortable or as uncomfortable as it may have been, everybody had to participate. Everybody was part of the team, whether you were the most athletic or the least athletic. But sometimes there was ones that you had, it took thinking. You had to really think about what you were doing. It was like they were playing mind games with you, and you had to figure out different puzzles and different riddles. So all just different areas. And when we got done with those things, then we went into this personal development, this self-development with our faith, with our finances, with our friendships, with our relationships, with our fitness. We even talked about that. So we had all the physical activity, and then they started working on the inside. They started working on our mindset. They started working on our hearts of like, how can we be a better father? How can we be a better boyfriend? How can we be a better son? How can we be a better uncle? How can we be the seed of greatness out in the world, wherever we go, to make a difference in everything that we do? And I'm so glad I went there. But the most important thing was that at the end of the day, was at the end of the trip. The activities were fantastic. The talks around the bonfire were great. The people, the leaders that they brought in to be able to talk on stage, they had phenomenal messages. But at the end of the weekend, the most important thing didn't happen with the most athletic person. It didn't happen with the speakers on stage. It didn't happen with anybody but our youth. You see, we were part of a team all weekend long. we had our own sub little groups of maybe 15 to 20, and then as a mass we had 800, 900, 1,000 plus dudes all on one team, so to say, to grow and learn together. But at the end of the weekend, we took all these young boys, all these youth who were part of the team all weekend long, but outside of that weekend, they didn't have a team. They didn't have a leader to strategize with in life. They didn't have a mentor in life. So what they did is leading up to that weekend, they had a sponsor. They had somebody who said, hey, I'm gonna take that kid in and help him out. So these leaders took in these boys, and they had to go through this challenge, the longest obstacle all weekend. It was like the gauntlet. And they started off the gauntlet, these young little boys, these grade schoolers, these maybe middle schoolers, maybe even like in high school. They had to wrestle a grown man. You might be thinking, whoa, what? Yeah, they had to wrestle a grown man. You wanna know what that wrestling was? It's because they're gonna wrestle in life with things that are trying to come against them, things that are trying to stop them from going out and accomplishing that seed that's inside of them, to know like, hey, I can make a difference in this world. Hey, I can be a good influence to my community. Hey, I can be a good captain on a sports team. Hey, I can play my role in this business. They're gonna wrestle against things that are trying to stop them. They had to wrestle for a whole minute. And I don't know about you, but think about this. Think about trying to hold your breath for a minute. It sounds so easy, but yet so hard. You might be thinking it's just a minute. But I'm telling you what, these dudes, they were wrestling, they were pushing them down on the ground. They were making them fight that whole minute. But you know what? They were part of a team. They had a mentor, they had the right team, they had the right association that said, keep going, get up, you can do it again, keep going. What I later on learned was the reason why they do this is studies have been shown that a lot of youth have encouragement. A lot of youth have a father figure, but those people who didn't have a father figure, those people who didn't have a mentor, those people who didn't have a coach, those people who they couldn't strategize with, who they couldn't just bounce their feelings off of, emotions off of, hey, what's the right thing to do in this situation? Those kids who didn't have that in their life, the moment they got pushed down, they were more likely to stay on the ground, in the dirt, and start getting comfortable there. But the kids who had an adult figure, the kids who had a parent, the kids who had a mentor, the kids who had a coach, the kids who had somebody just over their shoulder and said, keep going, you can do it. You know what? They got up and they kept fighting and they kept fighting and they kept fighting. And you know what? Life is hard enough to do it by yourself, but they got up and they kept fighting because somebody looked in their eye and said, keep going. I believe in you. You can do it. You're stronger than you think. You're more powerful than you think. And when you see a kid rise up from the ground, when they want to give up, when life gets tough, it'll wreck you. It'll change the way that you think. So they go on from there. And they had to pick up some weights. I mean, these weights weighed just about as much as they did. They had to carry these weights down and back a very long distance. And those weights represented just things weighing you down in life. They're gonna try to slow you down, and you might not be able to go as fast as you want, as far as you want by yourself. So you had to carry those weights. But the thing that really got me is I didn't get to see that part, but somebody told me not only did the teen have to take that weight all the way to its destination when he got there, he didn't just stop there. What he had to do was now he had to take those weights and bring them back. But why did he have to bring them back? Well, the reason is because he was creating this ripple effect. You see, it's not about just him getting to the destination. He said, there's somebody coming behind me. And I need to take these weights. I need to take these burdens. I need to take this thing that was holding me back. I need to go back and show somebody else how to do it. I need to go show somebody that if it's been done, if I can do it, that you can do it too. So he not only had to take those weights, those things that are weighing him down, trying to slow him down, saying you can't do it, you're no good, you're garbage, you're trash, you're nobody, you don't have a father figure, you don't have good association, you're part of the wrong team. He had to take those weights, those things that were bearing him down, And he had to walk all the way back to the beginning with him. And when he dropped him off, he could tell the next kid, hey, you can do it. It's not gonna be easy, it's gonna be tough. You're not always gonna enjoy it, but you can get through it. You just have to take another step. You can get anywhere in life if you can just take another step. Small steps, great distances. So we had to take that weight. He got to his destination, but he brought it back for the person next to him. So that person too could walk that path. That person too could go through it and say, hey, I can do it. I did it. Somebody told me. I'm gonna sow that seed. And they started to create a ripple effect. So they went through all these different obstacles. At the end of the obstacles, we had a line. So people on either side just lining up through this huge little maze on each side. And if we weren't that coach, if we weren't that mentor, what our whole job was to cheer them on. Keep going. You got this. Let's go all the way to the finish line. And just like in the beginning, how they started with those struggles and victories and just fighting for their life, so to say. At the end of the race, guess what? It didn't get any easier. Now, if you guys played sports, maybe specifically football, they have these huge, big old pads that they use that way so people don't have to tackle each other during practices. But these pads, they had, again, grown adults holding on to these pads. And when these kids would try to run through this maze, boom, they'd hit them. A lot of times they get knocked down, but each pad, boom, get a dose of shame. Boom, get a dose of rejection. Boom, get a dose of you're not good enough. But guess what? Now they just didn't have one mentor. Now they just didn't have one person on their team. They had a whole team around them saying, you can do it, get up, keep going, keep moving forward, take another step. Take another step. Believe in yourself. You got this. So every time shame would hit them in the face, rejection would hit them in the face, just failure would just knock them down and try to keep them down. Those people around him said, get up. Get up and keep moving forward. I want you to get on the right team. I want you to get the right association. Because if not, if you don't have that team, if you don't have the right association who's encouraging you to get up when you face rejection, who's encouraging you to get up when you face failure, if you don't have that mentor in your life when nobody else is around, chances are you're gonna stay on the ground. Chances are you're just gonna get comfortable in the darkness when you've never been made to stay in the darkness. You may have been born in the darkness, but you've been made to be a difference maker. You've been made to be a light in this world of darkness. So get up, keep moving forward. Get yourself a mentor. Find somebody who has what you want. Find somebody who's been where you want to be. Find somebody who is already at the destination where you're trying to get. And you might be thinking, yo, Javier, like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I don't even know how I'm gonna eat today. You know what? I don't have any good association in my life. I don't even know anybody. I'll tell you what. I was fortunate enough to meet somebody who started sewing into me, who was my mentor. And I couldn't always get around him. So you know who my mentors were? My mentors were John Maxwell, through leadership audios, through leadership books. You know who my mentor was? Og Mandino. Reading his books on a daily basis. You know who also was my mentor? Eric Thomas, watching his YouTube videos. If you want to succeed as bad as you want, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, that's when you'll be successful. That's what he said, one of his most famous lines. Getting mentored by him. You might be thinking, that's not mentorship. You don't have a relationship. Yet, I did. You better believe that. Waking up early, traveling to conferences, traveling to work, doing things I didn't want to do, but I was learning through audios, through podcasts, through books. You can have a mentor. You just have to look at it differently. And then doorways are going to start opening up where you can meet with a mentor face to face. You can talk with somebody face to face. Again, get the right association. Get the right team. Surround yourself around the people who are going where you want to be, who are doing what you want to do, who have what you want to have. But last thing, don't stop there. Just like the kid had to carry those weights all the way to the finish line, then he had a choice. Am I going to just go on to this next event, or am I going to sow a seed into this next generation? Am I going to sow a seed into my coworker? Am I going to sow a seed into my employees? Am I going to sow a seed into my son or daughter? Am I going to sow a seed into this person who I don't even necessarily know, but I could sow that seed into them? So it's not just about what you know, but it's about what your whole team knows. Make sure you take that seed, make sure you take what you learn and sow it into somebody else. And that's how we start creating a ripple effect of people getting their mind right. That's how we create a ripple effect of people getting their talk right, their self-talk right, and their talk to other people. That's how we start getting their hearts right, so we can start loving our neighbor as ourselves. That's how we start influencing the masses. If you can transform your mind, if you can change your mind and get your mind right, and you can start getting your talk right, not only for yourself, but if you can start learning how to get your talk right to other people, your neighbor, your coworkers, and you can start getting your heart right, so you can start loving other people and loving yourself, then that's how we can make a difference in this world. That's how we make a ripple effect. And always get your mind right.